Jesus attends a Pharisee's house on the Sabbath, observed by all present. A man suffering from dropsy stands before Jesus, who questions the legality of healing on the Sabbath. The Pharisees remain silent, offering no response to Jesus' question. Jesus heals the man and sends him away, using this moment to challenge the Pharisees' interpretations of the Sabbath laws. He poses another question regarding the rescue of a son or an ox from a well on the Sabbath, further highlighting their hypocrisy. No one responds to Jesus' challenge, leaving his point about compassion on the Sabbath unchallenged. At the meal, Jesus notices the guests choosing honorable seats and decides to teach them about humility. He shares a parable where guests pick the lowest seats at a wedding feast, suggesting one should not seek honor for oneself. Jesus explains that those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. He then addresses the host, suggesting that when giving a feast, one should invite the poor, crippled, lame, and blind. Jesus emphasizes that such acts of kindness are blessed because the recipients cannot repay the favor, ensuring a reward at the resurrection of the righteous. A guest reacts to Jesus' words by blessing those who eat bread in the kingdom of God, prompting Jesus to tell the parable of the great banquet. In the parable, a man hosts a large banquet and invites many guests. When the banquet is ready, the host sends his servant to tell the guests to come, but all of them begin to make excuses. One guest claims a need to see his newly purchased field, another needs to test his oxen, and another has just married and cannot attend. The host becomes angry at these rejections and orders his servant to invite the poor, crippled, blind, and lame from the streets. The servant does so, but reports back that there is still room at the banquet. The host instructs his servant to compel others to come in so his house will be full, emphasizing that the originally invited guests will not get a taste of his banquet. Jesus uses this parable to illustrate the openness of God's invitation to the kingdom and the rejection by those who were initially invited. He then shifts to teaching about the cost of discipleship, explaining that following him requires total commitment. Jesus states that anyone who does not carry their cross and follow him cannot be his disciple. He discusses the need for careful consideration, like a builder estimating the cost of a tower or a king contemplating the outcomes of a war. Jesus concludes with a warning about the fate of disciples who lose their commitment, comparing them to salt that has lost its taste and is useless. He ends by saying, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear," urging his listeners to reflect deeply on his teachings. Throughout Luke 14, Jesus challenges social norms, emphasizes the importance of humility and generosity, and sets high standards for his followers.